Throughout history, people have searched for many things: knowledge, success, security, influence. Entire systems of education have been built to help people gain knowledge. Careers are often shaped around the pursuit of success. Many decisions in life are guided by the desire for stability or recognition. Yet, long before modern education systems existed, Scripture pointed to something deeper, something more valuable than knowledge alone: wisdom. Knowledge tells us what things are, but wisdom teaches us how to live well among them. Knowledge can fill the mind, but wisdom shapes the heart, the choices we make, and the direction of our lives. And according to Scripture, wisdom does not begin with intelligence. It begins with a willingness to listen. The book of Proverbs describes this first step very simply: "My son, if you accept my words and store up my commands within you, turning your ear to wisdom and applying your heart to understanding." In the book of Proverbs, chapter 2, verses 1-2, notice the posture being described: turning the ear, applying the heart. Wisdom begins when a person becomes teachable, when we slow down enough to listen, reflect, and allow instruction to shape our thinking. A teachable spirit becomes the soil where wisdom can grow. But listening alone is not enough. Proverbs tells us that wisdom is something we must actively seek. Indeed, if you call out for insight and cry aloud for understanding, and if you look for it as for silver and search for it as for hidden treasure, then you will understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God. Proverbs chapter 2, verses 3-5. This language is powerful. Searching for silver, looking for hidden treasure. In other words, wisdom requires intentional pursuit. People invest years studying to master a profession. They dedicate time and effort to build businesses, develop skills, and achieve goals. Proverbs reminds us that wisdom deserves that same level of pursuit, because wisdom does more than increase knowledge. It shapes how we live. And here is one of the most comforting truths in Scripture. We are not expected to discover wisdom on our own. We can ask God for it. If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. James chapter 1, verse 5. This verse reveals something beautiful about the nature of God. He does not withhold wisdom from those who sincerely seek it. He gives generously, without reproach, without criticism. God welcomes the sincere desire to understand. In fact, one of the most remarkable prayers recorded in Scripture came from King Solomon. When Solomon became king, God offered him the opportunity to ask for anything. He could have asked for wealth. He could have asked for victory over enemies. He could have asked for a long life. But Solomon asked for something else. Give your servant a discerning heart, to govern your people, and to distinguish between right and wrong. 1 Kings chapter 3, verse 9. Solomon understood something profound. Without wisdom, even great opportunity can lead to poor decisions. But with wisdom, a person gains the ability to see clearly, to distinguish between what appears good and what truly leads to life. Take a moment to think about this. In a world where people often rush to gain knowledge, influence, and success, how often do we pause to seek wisdom? Wisdom shapes the way we respond to challenges. It guides our decisions when emotions are strong. It helps us recognize the paths that bring peace instead of regret. Sometimes the difference between confusion and clarity is simply this: whether wisdom guided the moment. The book of Proverbs also explains where wisdom ultimately comes from. For the Lord gives wisdom, from his mouth come knowledge and understanding. He holds success in store for the upright. He is a shield to those whose walk is blameless, for he guards the course of the just and protects the way of his faithful ones. Proverbs chapter 2, verses 6-8. Here, wisdom is described not only as insight, but also as protection, a shield. Think about how many painful situations in life begin with a lack of discernment. Impulsive decisions, misguided choices, following voices that lead in the wrong direction. Wisdom helps guard us from these paths before they begin. It quietly guides our steps toward what is right. But something even more remarkable happens as wisdom grows. At first, wisdom is something we seek, but eventually, wisdom becomes something that lives within us. For wisdom will enter your heart, and knowledge will be pleasant to your soul. Discretion will protect you, and understanding will guard you. Wisdom will save you from the ways of wicked men. Proverbs chapter 2, verses 10-12. Notice the transformation. Wisdom enters the heart. It becomes part of how we think, how we respond, and how we interpret the world around us. Over time, wisdom develops into discernment, the quiet ability to recognize what leads toward life and what leads away from it. And Proverbs reminds us that wisdom affects more than just our decisions. It also affects our well-being. Proverbs chapter 4, verses 20-22 say, "My son, pay attention to what I say. Turn your ear to my words. Do not let them out of your sight. Keep them within your heart, for they are life to those who find them, and health to one's whole body." Wisdom nourishes the soul. It brings clarity to the mind, stability to the heart, direction to the path we walk. In a world full of information, constant opinions, and endless noise, wisdom remains one of the most valuable treasures a person can seek. Because wisdom does more than inform us. Wisdom teaches us how to live well. Wisdom is not something we gain in a single moment. It is a path we continue to walk throughout life. I invite you to stay connected and tap the button to subscribe. More teachings and reflections about wisdom are coming soon.